Hey folks, how are you? I'm going to do something wicked exciting right now. I'm going to do a movie review. Last year I did a few book reviews, and that almost literally set the internet on fire. But like, it was starting to just almost turn into a wildfire. The air quality was getting bad. I had to put a stop to it. So I'm going to do a movie review for now. And the movie, drum roll please, is Anora. This movie got a lot of attention in the last month or so. I guess it won the Best Picture Oscar. The guy who wrote and directed this guy, Sean Baker, he also wrote and directed the movie The Florida Project, which I happened to watch a few months ago. I cried like a baby watching that freaking thing. I hadn't cried in a movie in a long time, but there's a scene, a spoiler, you've had a few years to see it. There's a spoiler, there's a 6-year-old girl who basically gets taken by DCF at the end of the movie. Saddest thing you've ever seen. But then again, DCF is kind of justified in some ways in doing it, so it's kind of like a little bit complicated. But Anora is about a, I guess you're supposed to say sex worker. I don't know if we're allowed to say prostitute, and certainly probably not hooker. Basically, the TLDR version of the story is girl meets boy, girl marries boy, girl loses boy. It's basically the story of a marriage and a divorce, a quickie marriage and a quickie divorce. I'll give you one guess where both take place. Yeah, Vegas. Basically, Anora is, well, she's a stripper, or maybe we're supposed to say exotic dancer in the beginning. It's not clear that she was actually a prostitute the whole time. At least it wasn't to me. But she meets her dream man, Ivan, at the strip club. And he basically says, will you be my, girlfriend for a week? I'll pay you a lot of money. And she says, sure. And he is rich. So he's going to take her away from all of it. The whole movie is basically a kind of riff, I think, on Pretty Woman, with where Julia Roberts is the prostitute and Richard Gere is the rich guy who sweeps her off her feet, and they live happily ever after. Well, Anora takes that and puts its own much more dark and cynical spin on it. One of the problems is Ivan, the would-be romantic lead here, he's like 21 years old. He's the son of ultra-rich Russian oligarchs. He spends all of his days basically smoking lots of weed, playing a ton of video games, and then he spends his nights getting blacked out drunk, and that's kind of his life. And but Anora believes what she wants to believe. She believes that they're in love, and they get married, and he's her Prince Charming. Long story short, he's not, and he basically is using her to, and he basically tells her this, and yet she still doesn't want to believe it, that he's using her to stay in the country. It's a green card kind of marriage. And so basically they're both using each other. And Ivan's family finds out that he has brought shame onto the family, as they say, by marrying a hooker. And they force her to go back to Vegas to get the marriage annulled. And that's basically your movie. And so one criticism I heard of this movie was, everything is controversial now, and everyone's offended by everything now because that's how you get attention online. And somebody said they found it offensive because the depiction of this girl Anora, is sex worker, is she's not America's sweetheart. She's not Julia Roberts. She doesn't have a bubbly, infectious laugh. She's pretty abrasive, pretty obnoxious, and pretty much until the end of the movie. She doesn't, until maybe the very last 10 seconds of the movie when she breaks down and cries. It's probably the first sign of any vulnerability that we see in her the whole movie. She is a tough chick, but she's also, first of all, a New Yorker. I mean, that's just New York. That's her default setting. And I don't, contrary to, popular belief, I don't know any hookers, but I think, it's probably pretty realistic of how a lot of them are. They're not the sweet girl next doors usually, and Also, though, I think this illustrates how knee jerk our society has gotten, especially when it comes to trying to understand art, and which is, I don't want to get a soapbox, but I guess I will anyway. The problem here is that any good story, um, the the storyteller, a lot of times what they're trying to communicate, they don't come out and directly tell you, because if they do, it's not a story. It won't feel natural. It'll feel like a sermon, and no one likes sermons, whether you agree or disagree with what's being sermonized. uh, Even if you agree, after 5 minutes you're just going to be like, yep, got it, I agree, and then it's boring. What else is there to say? So you want it to be, you want what you're communicating to be kind of indirect. And in our society today, where everyone's just so quick to just react, it's that can be difficult. They want to cancel your movie completely because they never took the time to try to even think about, what do I think they were trying to say here. And I think what the movie is doing is it's presenting her as this pretty abrasive person, again, to try to be realistic. And also, I think it's trying to do something, but it's trying not to take the easy way out. I do think by the end, it takes a while, at least it did with me, but you do start to feel a little bit of empathy for this character, but it doesn't take the easy way, again, by just having her suddenly morph into this sweet girl. She never really does. But you feel empathy for her because she doesn't deserve to be treated the way she's treated in this movie. Even if she's a sex worker or not. Basically, they humiliate her, the family, and Ivan, this her supposed savior, and treat her basically like trash, like you're a disgrace. You disgrace this family. And I think the movie wants to question whether are these people who are looking at her from a moral high horse, are they actually much worse than she is? And also, why is this family so rich? At one point she says to him near the beginning, how did you afford this place? And he says, well, I sell drugs. And then he says, just kidding, I sell guns. Oh, just kidding. Maybe he's not totally kidding. Maybe the family is up to shady business. Is it? But then again, is it prejudice to me that I'm thinking rich Russian oligarchs? They must be in the mob. I don't know. Maybe. So here's this family that morally are questionable. Ivan, her dreamboat, has no real substance to speak of, and yet they look down on her as she's the scum of the earth. And I think the movie is trying to question, why do we assume that we have the right to thumb our nose in moral indignation at someone who is a stripper and a prostitute? I mean, is it a little bit of a victimless crime in a lot of ways? Probably, and maybe there's even a fine line between what a prostitute is doing and just, standard courtship. I mean, think about it. If a standard, gentleman caller, he shows up and invites a girl on a date, and he pays for dinner, pays for drinks, buys her flowers, etc., etc. Is that totally different from what, a prostitute? Now, there's a difference, of course. The difference is when you pay for a prostitute, it's kind of literally like going to CVS and buying toothpaste, right? You put in your credit card, you're basically guaranteed they're definitely gonna give you that toothpaste, right? So you're just buying something. That's what a prostitute is. When you go on a date, you spend all this money on a girl. Maybe it's going to lead somewhere, maybe it's not. So it's not so much buying something, it's more like investing in something, investing in a stock, which could earn you nothing. And so maybe the fact that money you're spending on the girl on a date could be literally like throwing money down the drain and setting it on fire. Maybe that's why we define it as being a courtly gentleman. I'm not sure. But no, I do think the movie is good. I didn't think it was as good as The Florida Project. It didn't make me cry. But again, it does ask you to empathize with someone you wouldn't normally empathize. Florida Project's the same way. Both of these stories, clearly this is what he's interested in. He's trying to get you to empathize with people that if you saw them in regular life, if they're walking down the street, you're probably going to walk to the other side of the street. But this is what a lot of great movies and great stories can do, is we can see the humanity in people that a lot of times in everyday life we don't see the humanity of. And I did have one big complaint. A lot of this movie is they're Russians or Russian Americans, so everybody basically speaks Russian, but they also speak English. So they go back and forth constantly between Russian and English. I mean, come on, can we just speak more English? And the subtitles. I think I've become very lazy in my old age, because I was once someone. I used to watch a lot of foreign movies, 3 hour, like Seven Samurai, Akira Kurosawa movies, 3 hour epics, and nothing but subtitles. And I would watch them, and now I'm just lazy and weak. I don't want to be bothered. But my other complaint is why the subtitles on these screens now, the font size has shrunk to about 8 times New Roman. Why? I think I know why. I'll answer my rhetorical question. I think it's because TVs are bigger, so they assume like you probably have at least 55, 65-inch TV, so it's plenty big enough. I have a 65-inch TV. I want the best of both worlds. I want big-ass font and a big-ass TV. Why is that so tough? I guess people don't design things with me in mind, it turns out. Did I have anything else to say? I don't think I did. But yeah, it ain't Pretty Woman. And ladies, if all he does all day is just play video games and smoke weed, I don't care what his net income is. He's probably a loser. Just steer clear. And as you know, I'm a total relationship expert, as evidenced by the fact that I have never been married and have no children. But anyway, I'm really and now it's definitely time to end this video. So I hope you enjoyed it, and maybe I'll do another one, because I got nothing else. I got nothing but time right now. Not going to be honest. Going to be honest with you. So there could be more to come, and maybe even a book review, but that's going to have to involve audiobook. That's a whole other topic, but we're already getting long here with this video. So have a nice day. Bye.